Hello, welcome back. This is Miniature Mike, and like I promised a while ago, I want to do the non-unique Yuuzhan Vong characters. There's not too many of them. This faction's one of the smaller ones, but they're, as you know, super unique, really interesting, kind of a wacky faction with some fun stuff they bring to the table. If you haven't checked it out yet, I already did a video for the unique characters, Nominor, War Master, Yaman Kar, those three guys. Really, really cool characters. They're really, really instrumental for this entire faction, basically. But if you haven't checked them out, take a look at that video. And like I've said before, please like, please subscribe if you haven't yet. And always comment. Love to hear the comments. And just one quick note. You probably noticed that I've been doing videos a lot slower than I did before. It's just kind of the time of the season, a lot of stuff going on, and I'll probably kind of keep the same rate approximately, just kind of moving forward. So just want to give you a heads up on kind of what I'm thinking there. But let's jump into this video. I got some fun characters to talk about. And let's start off with the Yuuzhan Vong. Oh, I can't pronounce this. Subaltern or Subaltern. If you know how to pronounce it right, please let me know. I've never even bothered pronouncing it right. I think it's Subaltern, something like that. This guy's interesting overall. First off, you see a lot of themes you're going to see with the Yuuzhan Vong. You're going to see melee attack, force immunity, so basically force powers just don't work on these guys. And then you'll see Thud Bug very often, which is a very nice short range activation power, a little bit of damage. And then you'll see various levels of crab armor. Crab armor, kind of like dark armor, but better, essentially. And you'll see it at 6 or less, 11, or 16 or less for a variety of characters like we already saw. So basically, like you've seen with the unique ones, you're going to see these on all the other characters to different levels. Really nice combination of powers. Helps the survivability out. Very tactical powers too. But jumping into this one in particular, overall, these guys I don't think are really that good. And we'll get into why. So their HP, not that great for a melee character with 40. The range and melee survivability, it's fair. And the reason why I'm giving them this is they only cost 17. And they do have crab armor 11, which is decent. So it's not they're not great in the fact that, like, yeah, they have poor defense, they'll get hit easily, but the fact that they do have that is helpful. So I think a 2.5 might be a little bit too generous. The attack is also poor. 5 attack on a melee character, not great. Damage isn't great either. So these guys are really just commanders, they're support units. Special abilities I think are pretty great though. Force immunity's nice. Thud Bug, crab armor. This guy has a razor bug, so it's essentially, instead of with Thud Bug, it's range 6, 10 damage, and then targets activated, save of 11. Really, really, really nice power. Razor Bug's basically like force grip, essentially. If you want to do like a ranged attack, you have it there. It's fine. It's nice to have, I guess. This one can do double attack as well, but it's not a very good double attack, so keep that in mind. Nice assortment of powers, but it is what it is. It's more of a support unit. The ability synergy and its versatility I think is just okay overall. The commander effect, and hear me out, this is why I say it's poor. So it says allied Yuuzhan Vong warriors within 6 squares gain double attack. So the problem I have with this is just Yuuzhan Vong warriors. So that's the elite warriors and that's the regular warriors. I don't think it pertains to the Praetorite Vong warriors. It might, but it's not worded that way, at least the way I interpret it. So you're giving characters that aren't that awesome double attack, whereas other commanders and other similar commander adjacent characters, they're giving much more helpful powers to everybody. So that's why I think this commander effect kind of stinks, unfortunately. So Blue Milk score, a pretty bad rating. And then some of the pros and cons. Pro does have carb armor 11. That's nice. And then range attack with, having Razor Bug. That's helpful for support. But the cons is just really weak, and the commander effect's too limited for my liking. Next, we have the Yuuzhan Vong Warrior, also from Universe. To go through, overall, they're fair. They're not terrible. They're not incredible, though, but as like a cheap support grunt, they have a little bit of stuff they can do. So the HP is pretty good. Having 30 HP is nice for someone so cheap. Their survivability, not great, not the worst thing ever, because they do have armor 16, so there's a chance you might be able to deflect a little bit of damage there, but not too high a chance. The attack's also poor at +3, the max damage of just 10, that's it. but you do have Thudbug too, which is really helpful for these guys. Special abilities I think are pretty good. Like I said before, you have the armor, Thudbug, and force immunity. So that'll come into play sometimes not potentially, but I think maybe more often than not. But Thudbug, I really like Thudbug. It's like that support power. I like having it so the cheaper the character you have, having it so they're just kind of in the back activating people, so your more powerful people can just kind of take care of things and not have to worry about it. So it is nice, a support power for sure. Ability synergy's fair, the versatility fair. It's not like they're not versatile. Like when you have Thudbug, I think that definitely bumps your versatility up a little bit. When you have at least a little bit of armor, that can help. But overall, for what they are, it's not good, I should say, in either case. So Yuuzhan Vong score, they're fair. I don't think they're bad. They're not great either. They have their role. They're kind of grunts that are maybe a little too expensive, but I think if these guys cost 7, they'd be pretty wild. But they're 8, so there's that you have to keep in mind. So specialties, anti-force melee fighter, very cheap to pick up, but they're pros. They're decently cheap with a variety of special abilities, and there's a lot of powers that characters, like a lot of commander effects that can bump these guys up a lot for sure. But keep that in mind. So the cons, they don't really pack an offensive punch. They need help. And then Crab Armor 16, not very reliable, but at least they have it. So something to kind of keep in mind there. So moving on to the Advanced Agent Officer, we're going to have 2 Alliance and Empire characters here. These guys are pretty sweet. They definitely have a good role and how they can help all of your Vong characters in general. So we have an 11. Costs are not too bad. Overall, they're good. Their HP is good. 30 is still solid for this level. Their survivability is pretty nice. And the reason why it's good, they don't have crab armor, but instead they have stealth, and that definitely helps out a lot. So these guys, they can kind of stay in the back a little bit. You still got to watch out because they're melee, so they have to get close to people to support because all their allies are melee. So it's still something to watch out about. But overall, I think stealth is going to be just fine. It'd be really helpful to help them with that. Melee is bad. So now they don't have any crab armor. They have nothing to kind of help absorb damage. So if you do get on top of these, they are toast. Max damage isn't there either. These guys don't pack the offensive punch either. The special abilities are good. So stealth, nice. Thudbug, for a commander like this, having Thudbug is awesome for support. So instead of wasting your time with like a lame attack, you can just do like a 50-50, do a little bit of damage, but then activate a character. That's really helpful in my opinion. So definitely a good support piece right there, in my opinion, right there. It's good. So ability synergy, very solid, especially with big giving commander effects, having stealth, and then getting maybe close to characters and supporting with Thudbug. Versatility is fair. Commander effect I think is great. So commander effect on this one is Yuuzhan Vong allies. This is important. This can help War Master. This can help a lot of other really nice Vong characters too who just have 10 damage. They gain cunning attack within 6 squares. So throw in some mouse droids to help out for sure, and you use Yuuzhan Vong across the board. Gonna pack quite half the time pack quite a bit more punch. I think especially for like War Master, this is huge because that bumps him up to 19 attack and then potentially 60 automatic damage, because 19 attack is an auto hit anyways. So it's really helpful for sure. So great commander effect for these guys overall. For Yuuzhan Vong, I think these guys get a really good score. Just this commander is really this is such a nice commander effect to help all your Yuuzhan Vong characters out a lot. So pros, CE is very effective. You have solid support commander. The cons, no offensive punch. No, you don't have any crab armor, so they're a little fragile, but just watch out. Next we get the Advanced Scout. One of my favorite characters, actually. I love these things, and it's for obvious reasons. It's because they're cheap, they have stealth, and Thudbug, and because they have stealth, they can just be annoying bombs. You can do non-bomb, and non-minor can make these guys have super stealth. You just chill and just annoy the enemy to death. So I've really enjoyed that about their kind of gruntness. So they're really good grunts in my opinion. Overall, they are really good. HP is just standard for being 6 melee. Their survivability is nice, especially for range because they have the stealth. So melee, not so much. For attack, bad attack, so don't even try to use your attack at all. Just don't bother. Uh, or your damage. Just use that bug as your offense, basically. Special abilities are awesome. For someone this cheap, so no force, you don't have to worry about the force. You have stealth as a 6, that's really good. And then you have an awesome support power as a 6, so that's really nice too. So their ability synergy, good. I think they're decently versatile as well. And for me, I give them a great score because I just really like that they're the cheapest Yuuzhan Vong fodder at 6. That's really nice. They pair awesome with Nom. And their cons, like I said before, they don't really have a whole lot of offensive potential. So maybe you don't want a whole squad of these guys, but if you have several of them, they're really cheap and they can just kind of activate the enemies for you. And they can have that potential, self-destruct going on with Nom and Nor. That could be really good. So I do like these guys a lot. I'm always trying to collect more and more of them. It's fun to have a horde, but anyway, pretty good. So let's move on to the next guy. Is the Yuuzhan Vong Elite Warrior. So overall, these guys are good. I do like them as an upgrade in general to the regular warriors. They still have some drawbacks as well, but we'll see what they got. So hit points, good. They're at 50 now instead, which is nice to get that bumped up. The survivability across the board, nice. A little more defense. You have Crab Armor 11 now, which is a 50-50 chance. That's nice. They can absorb maybe a little bit more damage and stay around longer, especially since they're melee. The attack, definitely solid. Getting that bump up to 7. Just much better, much easier from the hit. And then mixing with their damage, these guys have Twin and 10. So it's nice that they can move, attack twice, same target, and then mix with some other characters they could potentially get, like double attack if you're using the Subaltern, and then if you're using getting cunning attack, and there's other characters that can give out some nice powers. So definitely can again be buffed very easily with a lot of different things. But by itself, it's nice that it at least has twin attack to work with. It's a good tool to have considering the constraints this team seems to get. So special abilities, really nice. I've gone through most of them already. Very similar. You've already seen these. Force Immunity, Melee, Bedbug, Twin, Crab Armor 11. So they're nice. Ability synergy's good. The versatility's a little bit better on these guys because they have Twin and they have better armor, so they can do just a little bit more. Be a little more well-rounded. They do get a 3, so a good score for just Yuuzhan Vong in general. Blue Milk is pretty much on the same wavelength that I am. And like I've mentioned, most of these characters they're anti-force melee fighters. So the pros, it's a solid upgrade to the warrior, better survivability with Crab Armor 11. The cons is Twin does help, but like I said, still needs some more commander effects to make him have a lot more punch. So keep that in mind. They might cost a little too much, but 14's fine, I think, overall. Like I've seen, they get a good score. They're not incredible, they're not bad, but they are nice tools that you can modify and have some good stuff with. So moving on to the Jedi Hunter. These guys, that's pretty good. Yeah, Jedi Hunter. Big fan of these. I think at the end of the day, they're going to be one of the better Yuuzhan Vong in general. So they cost 20. Overall, they are great, and we're going to find out why. So the HP is solid. They get 70 HP for costing 20 and being melee. It's right on par. Range survivability and melee, both are great. You have better defense this time, and you have Crab Armor 6. So with Crab Armor 6, it almost feels like that it's almost guaranteed every time. It's not, but 75% chance of deflecting any damage by 10, very nice. So his 70 HP might be more like 100 potentially at the end of the day, so it's really nice survivability there. He just doesn't have stealth, it doesn't have other things, but it's fine. The attack's great. The reason attack's nice is it's already high by being a 9, but in the situations where you do fight Jedi, having 13 attack is very helpful. It's max damage, also very solid because it's either 20 in the normal situation with Twin, or it's 40 if you're against a Jedi with the Twin, and then 20 damage, 13 attack. So very solid damage overall. Like I've said before, these guys can benefit from a lot of commanders to make them even better for sure. Getting cunning attack, poison, whatever. Very nice. Very, very nice there. Getting momentum. So that's the cool part when it comes to if they're mixed with War Master. If you give this thing momentum, and even the other guy momentum, they'll have Twin, They'll be able to move, do more damage, and use twin attack. So it's a really good complement to War Master's stuff. So overall, ability synergy and versatility, really nice. Special abilities, I think, are awesome for this character. You got great armor, you got twin attack, and you can already pack a little bit of a punch anyways. Thudbug is nice to support, although I don't know if I'd use it too much with him specifically, because I'd rather have this guy attacking cheaper characters using Thudbug. Jedi Hunter is, of course, really, really helpful in those situations when you need someone to really pack a punch against Jedi. So I like that he can move, use twin, have Jedi Hunter. It just makes it a much more effective piece against Jedi. And then Yuuzhan Vong score, they're awesome. They're not the best Yuuzhan Vong character, but they're pretty close to it. Blue Milk gives them an 8.14. That's really on par for being an awesome character. And their pros, great survivability. They're pretty solid Jedi killers. The cons, mostly the same as other Yuuzhan Vong, but they're just more capable. I don't think this is much of a con. Like, they do a lot of the same stuff the other ones do already, but they're just better at it. And to me, in my opinion, that pushes them over the edge, I guess you could say. Even if there aren't Jedi to deal with, if you can give these characters, other valuable commander effects that are available, they'll be just fine. So, really good, really good character here. Let's move on to the next one, is the Yuuzhan Vong Shaper. Though it's not a commander effect, I tend to consider these guys pseudo-commanders or commander adjacent for what Shaper provides. So overall, they're good. They have a role to play for sure, but they are totally one-dimensional. So hit points, bad, 50. It could be a little bit more. Honestly, it's a little not much. 70 HP is kind of what you're looking at for most melee characters at 21 cost. So the range survivability bad, melee survivability bad. You got there's no armor with these characters, no stealth. The attack's bad, damage is bad. Although you do 20 damage, but it's melee, and characters by now are going to be doing double attack with 20 damage anyway. So these guys are not offensive pieces at all. They're just support. Special abilities, I gave him an awesome ranking because I think Shaper is a really, really helpful power across the board. So Yuuzhan Vong allies within 6 squares, they get plus 10 damage, and the bonus is multiplied by critical hits. That's more of just a cherry on top, honestly. But getting plus 10 damage on top of someone else giving you cunning attack and someone else giving you poison, like, you're gonna have characters hitting really hard now with all these things stacking up, which is kind of nice. Again, giving this to War Master, that's just another thing to help him hit much harder since he has such limited base damage. So a very crucial, in my opinion, commander effect or effect for Yuuzhan Vong in general. So the versatility, I think, is good in the sense that Shaper plus 10 is just very helpful across the board for your team. The Yuuzhan Vong score is really good. Blue Milk's right on par with that. And their pros, Shaper is very helpful for most Yuuzhan Vong. It basically is the thing that can help correct their bad base damage. Especially the characters that they can hit, but they just don't do much damage. Whereas some of the Yuuzhan Vong, they have terrible attack anyway, so they're not going to hit anything. Those ones, you just use Thudbug. But I'm thinking of, the Jedi Hunter, War Master, Ossus Guardian, things like that. Praetorite Vong Warrior. So cons, these guys are way easy to kill. And the Shaper, unfortunately, it's not a big deal. It's not a commander effect, so you can't use a droid you can't use the mouse droid to help fix the aura, which kind of sucks. So Shaper is a special ability, and it's limited to 6 squares. There's nothing you can do about it, so that stinks because it just means they have to be really close to the battle. So it is what it is. It's just something that they, I think they probably did that to prevent them from using mouse droids in the future, but what would I know? Okay, next is, let's make sure I don't skip one. That can happen with my mouse has been having problems lately. Peace Brigade Thug. I'm putting this one in, even though he's fringe, you would never use this for any other situation but Yuuzhan Vong, so I'm going to throw the Peace Brigade Thug in. So this is a 4. His overall HP, it's fair. Not the HP, but the overall rating is fair. It has a role, but it's really just one-dimensional at the end of the day, other than the fact that it can shoot. So HP is good. It's just standard for being this cheap. Survivability's bad. It just has a really low defense anyway for costing a 4. The attack's fine. The max damage is fine. Special abilities I think are fine. The main special ability this guy brings to the table is Yuuzhan Vong. They get 1 attack for each character, basically for each Yuuzhan Vong collaborator that's within 4 squares of their target. So if you have, Yuuzhan Vong attacking somebody, and you have a bunch of collaborators just kind of hanging out right there, it's a way to help boost the accuracy, the attack of your characters. Like I've said before, the attack kind of lacks on some Yuuzhan Vong, but if you have some of these guys, they're cheap. They only cost 4. If you have like 3 or 4 or 5 of these just kind of in the prox area, kind of in the back, maybe like a square or 2 behind the main frontline characters, then they're just going to be able to hit a little bit more consistently, and that's really all they do. They can shoot, which isn't really good for much since they're not going to have anyone, nobody can help them out, unfortunately. Nobody's going to be giving them commander effects in Yuuzhan Vong to help them be better at shooting, but they exist. So either way, I'm not going to go through this too much. Their pro is that they can help for that attack, which is nice. Some need it to be effective, but their cons is it would be nice if the aura wasn't 4 squares, if it was 6 squares. 4, you have to be really close, and they could get killed pretty quick. And like I said a second ago, they are easy to knock out. So just something to keep in mind. They have really one role. Have them near the kind of close to the front line, give them that attack, and just hope that they don't get killed too much. So I think it's better than Swarm overall. It really is better than Swarm, but it's still one of those things where it's just so meticulous to make sure it's working for you. Next character is the Praetorite Vong Priest. These are interesting. I think they're really good, really with just a couple characters, and you'll see why. Cost 18. They are also good. They're not rated as high as the Shaper, and it's because the Shaper's power. In this case, that guy was Shaper plus 10. This one is Scarification plus 10. Shaper plus 10 is just more nice and easy, just 10 damage for everybody, whereas Scarification is a little more specific, maybe won't work in some situations, so I think that's why it kind of gets docked down just a little bit. So also, it's just worse in general when it comes to kind of what it can do for itself. The HP is only 40, that's not as good as the other one. Defense is worse, attack stinks, damage is 10 instead of 20. Not like that matters that much anyway, but there's just things that kind of knock it down a little bit. The special ability, though, is also awesome. I still think Shaper's better, but this can be really good in some circumstances as well. So it's like Shaper is better across the board, whereas this one can have power spikes where it's better than Shaper, but sometimes it's maybe a little bit more gimmicky. And so the reason why I say that, let me move this out of the way a little bit. The reason why I say that is because Scarification wounded Yuuzhan Vong allies within 6 squares. They get plus 4 attack and plus 10 damage. So it's kind of tricky because some Yuuzhan Vong characters, they don't have a lot of HP, so they won't benefit, like the cheaper ones. But for characters like, that have at least 60 HP, for War Master, Savong Law, for example, they're going to have enough HP where they can get hit a couple times and then boom, they can have the power spike. I think especially this guy is really meant for War Master because, again, more attack. He doesn't need it, but he gets more attack, and then it's just another easy way to boost his damage, and he becomes a total monster. So that's where I really see him coming into play. So not super versatile. It's fine. Scarification can just be, if you use it, if you plan for it, plan to have guys with a lot of tankiness get hit, it'll be good for you. So Yuuzhan Vong's score is pretty good as well, like the Shaper. And then the pros, it's somewhat similar to the Shaper, though a little bit different, like I mentioned. And then it's better for allies with lots of HP. But the cons, this guy's even easier to kill than the Shaper. So him and the Shaper, just keep him back. Be really careful how you protect him, because if someone has accurate shot, they're just going to kill him like that, and your team's toast. So it's like the benefit's really helpful, but it feels like they're still easy to take out, and then the benefit's gone, so it's really just tricky to make these things work. So it just is what it is. Praetorite Vong Warrior, I do like these guys a fair amount, so let's see kind of what they have to offer. They're probably the best just general warrior in the whole team. They cost 22. They are really good in my opinion. The HP is fair at 60. Survivability is solid, and the main reason for that is good HP, solid defense, and then crab armor 11 is nice. The attack and damage is really nice because they have 8 attack, 10 damage, but they do have cunning attack 20, so they could get 12 attack, 30 damage with the twin attack. So these are Yuuzhan Vong warriors that can actually pack a punch, hit really hard in the right circumstance. The special abilities are great. So like I mentioned, crab armor 11, that's more helpful. Twin's nice. Thud bug, always good to have. Force immunity as usual, and then cunning 20 is pretty powerful. So these guys, they don't really need the agent officer who gives cunning. But there's other characters that can benefit and help these guys out. One of the reasons why I think scarification can be helpful is because most Vong have crab armor. Like, you get hit by some attacks, you use your crab armor, maybe you reduce the damage, but you're still wounded, therefore you benefit from scarification and become really powerful. So I could see that maybe being a reason why that would be more helpful, because naturally these guys are going to absorb a little more damage, and they will be wounded, but it's not going to be too bad. So just a little nugget that I thought of. Ability synergy is great with the cunning, the twin, and also having just other things to support. Good attack, good damage. Also very solidly versatile because they can just hit harder, they're more tanky, they're just probably they're a little expensive still, costing 22, but they're just a more well-rounded unit, in my opinion. So the pros, they're really a premium Yuuzhan Vong warrior variant. CA20, really, really nice. Makes him hit a lot harder. And the cons, I think it could benefit from a little bit more HP maybe, but overall, I think it's a really well-rounded warrior. I know Blue Milk's not super high on these guys, but again, if they had maybe 70 HP, that would make them perfect. So really, really good characters. So next, last but not least, almost, is the Yuuzhan Vong Ossus Guardian. So he's not the last one, second to last one. These guys, in my opinion, are probably the best. So they cost 26. They are the highest graded ones, so they're great. Their HP's good at 80. It's nice to have that much HP, honestly. Their range survivability is great, and their melee survivability is great. The reason for that is because they have nice HP, they have nice defense, and they get a benefit from having crab armor 6, which is the best crab armor. So it's going to take a little bit of extra stuff to kill these guys. Definitely damage 10's not going to count it. It's not going to help. You'll need damage 20 for sure, and just to some luck. The attack is really good. The max damage is only fair because they have great attack at 10, but they only do 10, and they have twin. So it's like, if you're not fighting a Jedi, it's just 20. But if you fight a Jedi, then it's really powerful. Special abilities, I give them a 4.5 for having awesome, because they have the best crab armor. They get twin. They get razor bugs. They do get a ranged attack, which is nice. And I'm okay that they don't have thud bug because they cost a lot. I'd rather have the cheap guys with thud bug, in my opinion. So it's nice that they can do a ranged attack. Jedi Hunter's good, immunity's good, and then the fun part, they can be in a New Republic squad. So while if they are in a New Republic squad, they could be really helpful and use Jedi Hunter if they're maybe against like the Empire or somebody else. But obviously if they're in New Republic against Yuuzhan Vong and it's like a theme battle, it's not going to be all that helpful. But that is nice. These guys can get some nice things, like they could get evade and mobile attack, among other things, in the New Republic, which is kind of fun. So building off that, the synergy and versatility of all these powers is nice. And they have the highest score that I would give a Yuuzhan Vong non-unique character. And their pros is they're the best non-unique Yuuzhan Vong with just nice all-around powers, survivability, great stats, and they can be New Republic. So they just have a lot of just overall good versatility, good things going for them. And their cons is they're missing thud bug, but they don't need it, so who cares? It's not a big deal in my opinion. So finally, last but totally least, is the Far Outsider. So these guys are just a huge miss, in my opinion. Another one of the strange Masters of the Force characters that was just oddly terrible. So the Far Outsider costs 11. I kind of view him as like a grunt, but they cost a little bit too much for being a grunt. So overall, they have a terrible score. Their HP is fine, so having 30 HP is nice. Their survivability isn't the best, but they do have crab armor that helps a little bit. And then they do a benefit as being a Yuuzhan Vong warrior, so they can benefit from the one commander effect that gives them something that gives them double attack. So whoop-de-doo. And then their attack is fine at 5. Their max damage is also pretty good. So what I'm spouting here kind of sounds good. It's like, okay, HP's fine, survivability's workable. They do have cunning attack, so they could get 9 attack, 20 damage. That's good. But I think the thing that really just screws them up for me personally is, it's funny when I look at this. I think, the blue milk score is what's weighting it down so much. So like the ability synergy is fine. The versatility is like, it's just fair. And then I don't think that the worst things ever, so I gave him a 2.5. But I think the thing that really kills them for me is because they just cost a lot. They cost 11. Like you can get the warrior for cheaper, and he pretty much has the same powers, except the key difference is this: the warrior's cheaper, and the warrior, he doesn't have cunning attack. He doesn't need it because there's so many other characters that are going to be giving him stuff. Like he can get cunning attack from the agent officer. He can get a shaper to help out. He can get I'm not worried about him having cunning attack, but the problem is this guy doesn't have thud bug, and he's just a little bit too expensive. So like the warrior is just objectively better in my opinion because he can support nicely with thud bug. Like he can be around to activate characters so your allies can just do more damage and not worry about getting retaliated against. Whereas this guy, he's just attack. So he's not really very tactical, and he just costs a little bit too much in my opinion. He costs 11. I'm not a fan of these guys. I can see why. And I'm just not it just bothers me because I really like having thud bug as a really helpful, just kind of tactical piece of your strategy to do a lot of activations for the enemy, and these guys can't do that, and they cost 11, and so I just see zero reason to use these guys over the advanced scouts, the regular warriors. There's just zero reason in my opinion. So even though like on paper they don't look too terrible, it's just when you compare them to what's already available, it's just kind of like I'll pass. So the pros: cunning does help this variant hit a little bit harder. The cons: I think it's a little bit too expensive to be a grunt, and missing thud bug I think just sucks because it's nice to have the grunts be able to spam a power that's a 50-50 hit, because the attack's so bad you can't really rely on that. But if you can be like, hey, I can do 10 damage and activate you where I miss, like that's nice. I'll take that. These guys can't do it. So anyways, to kind of sum it all up, to end it, let's go through these final rankings. So last place, Far Outsider, no surprise. I just think that they don't have a good purpose in this team. The Subaltern, not great. The commander effect is super specific. The warrior, not the worst thing ever. If you buff them up a lot, they can be nice, helper, fodder, or whatever, but still not great. Peace Brigade Thug, they have a role. They can help boost attack, not the best. The Priest, decent. I think Scarification, you have to be careful, easy to kill him, but Scarification can be a huge bang for your buck. Same as Shaper. Elite Warrior is definitely a decent, solid character by having Twin. Agent Officer is awesome for the commander effect it gives. The Advanced Scout, awesome grunt. Praetorian Vong Warrior is a very, very good, in my opinion, just kind of version of the Warrior overall. And then you get Jedi Hunter, very good. Awesome stats, and Ossus Guardian. So I think Jedi Hunter and Ossus Guardian, they're both Jedi Hunters, and they both have, just good powers going for them by having Jedi Hunter. They both have good crab armor. They both have good HP and tankiness. So it's just the Ossus Guardian's maybe a little bit better because it has a ranged attack, and it can be on New Republic, and it has just better base stats as well. So, and here's this. I'll leave this up here. Feel free to take a look. But I put them all down together. So in general, they have nice special abilities, but it's a quirky squad. Quirky team for sure, but you got some really nice things in here. You got good warriors. Some of them not so good, but some warriors that have twin attack and hit hard. But when you mix them with some of the commanders and pseudo commanders, you can get characters that can start hitting really, really, really hard. But it definitely requires some tedious strategy to make sure people are in the right spot to be able to do what you want to do. So anyway, I'll end with that. I hope you guys enjoyed this video on the Yuuzhan Vong non-unique characters. It's a squad it's a faction I don't use very often at all, but it's so interesting, fascinating. You know, just thinking about different ways of making these guys work is a lot of fun. And I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and comments. What are your experiences with using the Vong? What are some things that work really well, other than, you know, just Nominor doing his thing? And maybe what are some things that really kind of hold them back from being a great squad, in your opinion? So put your comments right down below, and I'd love to hear what you say. Anyway, until next time, have a good one.